All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's paint stream. It is starring me and...
Me, Rachel.
Yeah, and Rachel's going to be on camera today. So, Rachel, who are you painting?
I'm painting. We gave him a name last stream, but I forgot what it was except for Glenn.
Yeah, I think Glenn's good. Skeleton Pants Man, right?
Skeleton Pants Man.
Good. Oh, yeah. We should probably go to Facebook and be live there too.
Oh yay, Facebook.
Hooray, Facebook. Yeah, so we'll do introductions in just a second again. Okay, cool. We're live again. Hey guys, thanks for joining us on Facebook. It's me and...
Rachel, me.
Yeah, Rachel. Rachel's on camera today because I feel like it's a lot more interesting to watch her paint a skeleton man than it would necessarily for me painting gold trim on an obliterator all day. So, Rachel, tell us a little bit about Skeleton Man.
Skeleton Man, his name is Glenn, and I feel like he's on vacation.
Yeah? Like, now, is he on vacation for doing, like, being a good skeleton? Is it a reward, or is it like he needs a break from the daily grind?
You know, he's stuck in the dungeon all day, and he needs some sun. So he's on some nice sidewalk. We're gonna paint the terrain today, the base.
Yeah.
So he's like going to get a drink. As
Good.
you can tell by his stance, maybe not his first drink.
Yeah, I do tend to look like that on my third or second drink. But yeah, so we will be painting, working together, and also answering questions, responding to your comments, addressing criticisms of why Chaos has so much trim and why it's a hassle. And anything else you guys really want to talk about. So if you're here and chat with us, please feel free to say hi, talk about what you're working on, and join us in our shenanigans.
Let us know your favorite vacation drink.
Oh man, that's a good question. Do you have a favorite vacation drink?
I do. Mine is a classic pina colada.
Those are pretty good. I remember going on my first cruise, and that was like the first thing I ordered, and I was heavily disappointed. So like it tasted amazing, but it was like probably like a 32-ounce pina colada. And they're like, hey, do you want us to make it alcoholic? And I was just like, heck yes, like this is, I just turned 22, so I was just like, let's do it. And they put a shot in there. A shot in a 32-ounce drink. So
Mediocre.
exactly. But I mean, like, it's a cruise, right? They want to make money on their alcohol, so that's fine. And now with all this talking, I think I'm a Mai Tai person, or maybe even Dark and Stormy. I haven't had one of those in a bit.
I'm actually really bad at knowing what mixed drinks are. Like, my first experience with pina coladas was at a very young age when my mom was like, hey, let's go to a resort. And I'm like, cool. She's like, it's in Mexico. And I'm like, cool. And us kids, the wee little people who could not have alcohol, got a bright lime green wristband. And adults got a dark, like a pine green wristband.
Yeah.
And someone mixed up what green I was one time.
How old were you?
I was in like 5th grade.
And how hammered did you get?
Pretty plastered because I was like 60 pounds soaking wet. And I was drinking them like all day long anyways because they're like fruity and full of ice, and so they kept me hydrated in August in Mexico, which was a mistake in and of itself. But then I was like, oh, this is so good. Mom's like, let me try that. I'm like, okay. She's like, go get a new one. And I'm like, but and she's like, go get a new one.
Did you get to the bar in one piece to ask for a new one?
Yes, I did. Oh my gosh. Yes. No, I can't talk, Luke. I'm streaming. Why would you call me? No.
Because you're streaming.
How dare you?
You'll know that
Sorry, Luke.
if you don't put your phone on silent during streaming, it will get a call.
It will get a call, and it will be an embarrassing video game music.
I don't think that was embarrassing. It was festive.
Yeah.
What video game music was that?
It is Splatoon.
Of course.
Because that is me right now. When I'm not here, I am playing too much video games and hurting my wrist. When I'm not doing art.
So it doesn't hurt your wrist to do art, but it does for video games, or you are making the sacrifice for art?
It doesn't hurt right now because I'm not moving it a whole bunch. But like for video games, especially my Switch where the analog is kind of broken,
Yeah.
and it keeps aiming in the wrong direction, I have to like jerk it back over every now and again.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that hurts my wrist.
So on that note, going to art school, all of my professors always taught me to paint at the elbows and not the wrists, because it gives you a more fine control over your line work, which is great. And they're like, it also helps you from getting carpal tunnel. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. And then I got tennis elbow,
Oh, butts.
which is literally just the carpal tunnel of the elbow.
Oh, your lid fell off.
It's fine.
Okay.
You'll learn with your own Privateer Press paints that those lids eventually fall off.
They are a delicate thing. Here we go.
So yeah, you're working on this for role-playing games, correct?
I actually, I'm working on him just to like practice,
Okay.
but I do want to get more into my role-playing minis, and actually when I'm a little less rusty, work on them as well.
So what is your like end goal for painting minis? Like, is there a skill level you're looking for, or is it just get as good as you possibly can?
Pretty much just get good.
Yeah, that's good. We'll teach you the figurative barrel rolls of painting.
Awesome.
I've been watching a lot of people play Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, or affectionately known as Weeb Souls.
Is it?
Oh yeah, because it's just Dark Souls 7 mythological Japan,
Oh, wow.
and the name hits the game like really on the head because the plot is you are infused with this otherworldly being's like blood, and it lets you come back from the dead at least once.
Oh, wow. At least?
Yeah. So basically, like, you're on a timer and you get to come back. So it's like a little bit more forgiving than, let's say, like Dark Souls, because if the boss just like kills you out of the blue, you have a second chance to come back to it. And they're able to kind of like play around with it, and you can, like, I want to say that countdown eventually like it's on cooldown, right? So if you don't die too often, you eventually get it back.
Well, that's good.
So
There are 3
Yeah.
cups over there, Bryce, with your name on it.
Well, that's cool. So you don't like lose progress on the immediate boss if you get to come back?
correct. So, like I said, it has a little bit of forgiveness with it, which is good, and it looks really amazing, like with the style and all that. They really kind of nailed down that like grim, mythological, feudal Japan kind of setting. So, so
No, stop calling me Luke. Please stop.
does Luke normally call you, or is it a because you are streaming call?
I'm gonna just let them know. Sorry.
I'm too busy being a famous internet star. Oh, are we too quiet? Do we need to be louder?
No, I think it's just the microphone needs to be down. We'll try that.
Got it. Joe said to start screaming, everyone.
Here we go. All right. Sorry, Luke, if you're ever watching this.
In which you should be.
Well, they're driving, so they probably shouldn't be.
Oh yeah, don't watch it. You can listen to us. Right? That's still okay?
Yeah, you can listen. They do podcasts a lot.
Yeah, I really enjoy. I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks lately while driving. listening to Soul Wars currently, which is one of the Age of Sigmar books, and they do a really good job of like making some of these characters like come to life. Because I was never really a big fan of Stormcast Eternals, but this because like they're these big kind of faceless armored dudes, but they do a really good job of like giving them personalities, kind of giving them goals, hopes, dreams, and and then watching them explode into a lightning bolt.
Whee! I've not read any of the books.
It's interesting, and well, so for you, there's no like Deepkin book yet that I know of, but I'll let you know whenever there is one. I'm still waiting on a Lizardman book to come out. There is, however, a role-playing game that one of our local guys is working with the company producing it.
Oh, sweet.
But it's the Age of Sigmar role-playing game, and you can play a Deepkin Tidecaster. So that's the lady that has like the little eel floating around her.
Yeah, I liked her. She had a good sculpt.
Yeah. So, and there'll be other like Deepkin things that you can play as, but I thought it was pretty interesting that they're really trying to include as many factions as possible, so that everyone kind of wants to get into it.
Yeah. Alright.
And they're also doing a small skirmish version of Age of Sigmar, in which they revealed yesterday with the teaser that you can play Deepkin. So it's a great way for you, who hasn't had a chance to like necessarily play the full game yet, get experience with the game without having to buy like an entire 2,000 point army. Because not everybody got that money.
Yeah, and it is good to figure it out. Now, really quick, while the base is sort of drying a little
Yes.
bit, can I work on his eyeballs?
Yeah, absolutely. So, for glow effects, what we want to do is find the color we want it to glow, which I think it's going to be arcane blue, which you have.
Yeah.
And what you want to do is you want to thin that down a lot. And so it's going to be like 3 parts water to 1 part paint. And what you'll need is 2 brushes working in tandem.
Okay.
So first, get your paint mixed.
Oh, it's a brand new bottle of paint.
Oh god, it's like being the first person to dip the spoon into the peanut butter.
Oh, yes.
One of the best feelings ever.
Looking for a blank spot on my palette. There we are. So 3 water to 1 paint? Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't need that much paint. Go back.
Yeah.
It's
Cool.
there now.
During the summer, and like a couple months from now, I'll have all the time in the world.
1, 2.
And the consistency should be kind of close to like skim milk,
Okay.
I would say. So like you might want to mix more of that water in there. Alright, so that should be plenty of water.
Boop, boop. Here we go.
And what you're going to do is you're going to take your brush that has the paint on it. So first I would wipe off your brush,
Meh.
clear it from what it already has, because one of the main benefits of using a palette is to control the amount of paint that you actually put on there. So you just want to put a little bit of the paint on there, but you want to have a second brush ready at the go, and what you're going to do is you're going to apply that as a kind of dollop into the eye socket, and what you'll do is you'll use the second brush without any paint on it to pull the extra paint, since it's so thin, towards the center of the eye.
Oh, I see. I see. Yeah, I think I know what you're saying.
Yeah, it's usually referred to as 2-brush blending.
Cool. It's got these big old eyeballs, so let's give it a shot. Is it a good amount?
Yeah, that's great. So, kind of dip it in there.
Into the black part or on?
Yeah. So you want it to fade from the black up to the pupil, so to speak. And so you're going to want to be constantly pulling the extra paint towards the pupil, and this should create a artificial gradation of color from the outside of the pupil towards the inside. Because what we eventually want to do is have the pupil be almost white, but still the person looking at it from afar being like, oh, that's a glowing teal eyeball.
Do I need to constantly like apply more paint? Or?
Yeah, so you'll let it dry because like you need the paint to dry a little bit before you move on to the next part. So you'll want to bounce back and forth between eyeball and eyeball because trying to add more like pigment concentration to wet paint usually just means you're like moving it around as opposed to intensifying it.
Oops, that was a lot of paint.
And that's fine. That's usually why you have your second brush to kind of sop up the extra ones and move it around. Oh my God, it's Roman. Hi, Roman. If you guys haven't watched Doom Patrol yet, I highly recommend it. It's well worth the subscription to the DC streaming service. And then also you get to make sure that Roman gets to keep working on it by keeping it going. Doom Patrol is actually a really, really good show. 10 out of 10. I also like Brendan Fraser.
I don't think I've seen it.
It's really good. So it's based on an old DC comics book thing, but it's basically Cyborg's first superhero team, and they're made up of a bunch of kind of misfit heroes.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. And Brendan Fraser plays Robot Man, who's kind of like a meathead who got his brain put into a robot body.
Oh wow.
So he like contrasts Cyborg a lot, you know, who's a really intelligent character who has a half robot body.
His robot attributes.
Yeah. Some might even call him a cyborg.
Here we go. Alright. While his eyes are doing that.
Yep. And so like that's one of the things when you're working on like paint projects is definitely don't be afraid to like bounce around between different areas. It keeps you active, and usually I find the moment like I put the model down and walk away, I very rarely walk back to what I was doing. So get the most out of your work sessions by constantly bouncing around and
struggling to open things.
yep, they're at least not like pickle jar level of difficulty. Just
They
requires a
struggle
little
on
bit of
camera.
grunting. Eh.
You have to growl at it.
Yeah.
And even then it doesn't work. Here we go. I don't know if the thing will pick up that satisfying like noise.
I hope so. I hope they got the whole grunt to satisfying pop. And I hope they're just listening to this and not actually watching. So
Oh yeah, that's always best.
get to use your imagination to figure out what we're painting.
A little more center camera for you guys.
Yeah, John was talking about how he's working on one of the knights from the new Conquest game that's coming out. And those models are huge. I'm not sure if you've seen those, Rachel.
I have not.
But they are, so what you're working with would be considered like 28 millimeter scale. They're like 38 millimeter scale, which doesn't sound like a big difference, but
It's 10, yeah.
yeah. But they definitely look like it.
I totally just put my arm down in my like glowy eye stuff.
Yeah, how's it feel? Does it feel
Moist.
mm,
There we go. I'm gonna add a bit of washy wash. The same kind of wash that we had on, what's his name? Glenn here. Crack that puppy open. If I washed the ground with the same wash, do you think that would do poorly?
I would actually go with something a little bit darker because the sepia in itself is pretty light. So I would use the next step down, which is going to be Agrax Earthshade. And so that's like a black brown.
More coffee than soy sauce. Alright, are we all the way dry, ladies and gentlemen? Almost.
And also, if you're impatient like me, like when I'm working at home, I'll usually keep a hairdryer with me,
Yeah.
and I will zap a guy or zap a model with my hairdryer just to make sure I can move on to the next step efficiently.
There we go. Go. It should be ample. Stuff on my little pad.
Run year from year. Like they have over 100 tables, probably closer to 60 or 70 tables of terrain.
Go. Give it some depth. Oh
Man,
yeah.
painting all this trim reminds me
The Warzone
why I hate painting chaos.
So you wouldn't have to deal with the frill.
Yeah, like they have all these like little accents, which is nice.
Oh, it sounded like you were gonna be like, but like I was waiting for the butt to drop on that, where you're like, oh yeah, these are all nice, but
Yeah, it's like it's one of those things where I get frustrated because the step is tedious, but it's very rewarding like once it's done, and that's how I keep suckering myself into doing it.
yeah.
'Cause remember, the human body does its best to not remember the pain, only the good parts.
Oh really?
Yeah. That's why you can remember being in pain, but you usually can't remember the feeling of it.
Lovely. You can see all those little sidewalk cracks. Ooh, so nice.
Yeah, oh see, that's looking great.
Looking great. And that's when he killed me. Live on stream because
Nope.
of a pun.
Listen, Mark's been my BFF for years.
Ah,
You're gonna have to step your pun game up if you want to try to break me.
that's good to know. Oh, where did my other bird? Hey, come here, come here. Alright, back to the eyeball land. I gotta quit putting my arm in that.
Yeah, it's things you'll learn as you do it more and more, like what you need for your workspace to be comfortable for you. And it's a pretty important step just because it is like you can paint for a lot longer if you're comfortable while painting. It seems simple to say, but you'd be surprised how many people will make themselves uncomfortable.
Yeah. Like I have my craft room all set up. And for the longest time I just couldn't get any projects started dry faster.
Yeah.
Because I was just not able to organize it and get things in where they needed to be.
Yeah, that's the story of my current office. It is rough.
Give me a strawberry daiquiri. You know, kind of looks like blood. Strawberry daiquiris.
Yeah. I mean, like, do you think skeletons are after blood? Like, what do you think a skeleton in a dungeon's goal is? Let's get philosophical.
I do think a vampire would have a scarf that says juicy on it instead of like a pair of pants.
Oh my god. But no, I would still love to see a vampire with a pair of juicy pants, though.
Heck yeah.
If only I knew some artists that were able to make that happen.
If only.
Ugh.
Where did it? There it is. I gotta quit putting these paintbrushes back with all of my other paintbrushes. Dry, my little friend.
Just blowing it. Just. Or call Joe over to just blow on it. Hopefully it won't hyperventilate like last time.
Oh no. There we go.
Be there for Joe.
There we go.
Oh god, David's starting to replace all song lyrics with instances of Joe's name.
There we go. Zig, zig, zig. He's getting there. He's getting there. It's happening.
Yeah. Patience and perseverance. There's another one. I think it's painting.
Peanut butter.
Peanut butter. Patience, perseverance, and peanut butter will see you through all painting projects. Oh, I think it's penistency.
Don't you dare ask me to spell that.
No, it's just me putting a P in front of consistency. Panache.
Potpourri. Pterodactyls. Oh, I'm sorry. I may not have been on center for that. I'm learning.
Yeah, this is Rachel's first time on camera.
Not
So,
ever.
Forgive her hands for blushing.
But, ooh. You don't have to forgive me for that. I'm sorry.
Next time you should put the ooh face
So,
on your hand.
on like my thumbnail
Yeah.
or something. Tidy.
Have you ever like painted your nails, like drawn things in your nails?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I have your like mini paint collection
Yeah.
is very similar to my nail polish collection. Lots of pretty colors that kind of look close, but they're totally different.
All right. Next time I go to convention, I'm gonna need you to paint dinosaurs on all my fingernails.
The same one or different ones?
Different ones.
Okay.
Is that easier or harder?
Consistency on nails is tricky because they're all different sizes.
Yeah. So yeah, doing all different ones should be easier, right?
Yeah, should be.
I'll get to be the belle of the ball.
Oh.
I think I'm going to Origins next.
Is your next con?
Well, I'm not sure if I'm going to MomoCon or not. I know Emily's tabling at it, so I mean, I would obviously love to go see her table, but we're also moving that weekend.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah. So it might be a little bit difficult to do that.
Yeah, last time I went to MomoCon, I went to see like a specific voice actor, and I was in a ball dress, like a ball gown, and I made the mistake of being like, oh, I don't have time to go out and buy/make a hoop skirt. No. If you're ever gonna wear a ball gown in Georgia, especially in the month of May, you better wear a hoop skirt or you gonna die.
Valuable knowledge from Rachel.
Kurt, did you need some of these sets then tonight? What?
Also, try not to park too far away from a convention, especially if you have blue body paint on.
Oh yeah, I've done that.
Just the way it's gonna teach you?
What were you dressed as?
I was Sapphire from Steven Universe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she cute. I did not get the Cyclops face mask done in time, so I was like, alright, I'll just put the bangs in front of my eyes. And I went with my friend who was a Ruby, and everyone's like, are you a couple? And we're like, no, we're not. They're like, you're totally a couple. I'm like, no, stop. Quit it. But she was like the only Ruby at the Steven Universe photo shoot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So there was like one Ruby and then 7 Sapphires, and we were all fawning over her, and it was great.
Yeah. Emily goes as Pearl, if you can
She's
imagine.
a fantastic Pearl.
Yeah, she has a great Pearl costume as well.
Oh,
And her friend goes as Garnet a lot.
Foxy. I have a friend who I feel bad because I see my friends. I'm like, I know you don't watch this show, but I need you to put on this outfit and walk around with me.
Yeah.
And I can't just like do that to people because they probably have better things to do with their life.
I've always wanted to do Young Mr. Universe,
What?
but buying a wig seems like a lot of work.
Oh, it's really not. Once you wear your first wig out in public for like cosplay or whatever reason, you're like, oh heck yeah, this is super easy. I couldn't think of a metaphor for that.
Yeah, my head won't explode.
No, although the colder it is outside, the better. So MomoCon's not fun.
Yeah.
I was also in a blue wig for that.
I was gonna say, also, isn't DragonCon like hotter than MomoCon?
DragonCon is a different kind of hot than MomoCon. MomoCon is usually like early summer, late springish vibes, so it's like the warmth is expected and people are bracing for it. But by Labor Day weekend, everybody's like, "Oh yeah, this is totally excited," but everyone is dying on the inside. And it's in a like, I feel like it's more outside than MomoCon because you have you have like 12 buildings and the MARTA station and
Okay.
the hotel and like every building in Atlanta, so you have to walk around outside a lot, so the sun is like unbearable. But MomoCon, you usually just like, you park, you go in, you hide from the weather, and you come out and it's dark, so it's not as bad.
I guess that's fair.
I waited in line to get into the 5-layer dealer hall last year for like 45 minutes, and I was like, I'm dying.
Sounds like a delicious burrito.
45-minute line?
No, five layer dealer hall.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh, hey, Emily.
Hi, Emily. Alright, I think nope, you are definitely not dry on the base.
Yeah, washes take forever to dry. And it is just an unfortunate fact of washes. Man, I might actually, knock on wood, finish all this trim today on the stream.
Wow, do you want to give the folks out there like a...
I will as soon
Update.
as the trim gets done,
Yeah.
and right before I put on the wash.
Ho hum. Yeah, no, Luke, the same one who called me earlier on the stream, they have always wanted to do a Pearl cosplay because they have a similar physique. They're like live, and I'm like, do it!
Yeah.
And they recently did like a similar Pearl cosplay where they didn't do like the actual outfit from the show, but they borrowed like our friend's Pearl wig.
Yeah.
And they made them a pearl for their noggin, and they were super cute.
Emily says she loves the color for the eyes and all that.
Thank you.
And, so, can I see the eyes? Oh, they're looking good.
Thanks.
Do you like the glow effect that's going on?
I do.
Good.
I'm all
Because
about that glow. Oh no, I forgot to have water on it. Ah. I was just like, oh, I'll soak up that little bit of weirdness. That made it worse.
it's fine. Everything can be fixed. All right. So I just finished doing the trim, or at least I think I did. I'm doing a quick double check. But here he is. Hip, hip. Mr. Obliterator. So now he's going to get a nice wash with the Agrax Surshade, the same as Rachel is using on the base.
Little Glenn's base. Here we go. Nailed it. Saved it. Totally didn't mess it up.
All right.
Oh, back on the screen. There we go.
Yeah.
I have a bad habit of like turning into an armadillo and just like roly-polying up when I paint on tiny things, especially because I'm wearing glasses today instead of contacts. Ooh. I hurt my eye and it's like, hey, don't wear contacts. And it's like, okay. So I had to break out these 2-year-old glasses and
You look fabulous.
thank you. There we go. Totally not marking the corners on the table with these. That was easy.
It's fine. That's the reason why we put the like little safety cloth.
Alrighty. I feel like like I could work on his trousers a bit.
Yeah.
Get him like a little bit of. Give him. I think we gave him like a slight wash. No, we didn't. I'm gonna steal one of your blues.
Yeah. Do you need a darker blue or a lighter blue?
I think we were gonna use this one to go with it.
Yeah. Are you going to make a shade out of that, or are you going to?
Like a wash.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna just water it down just a smidge.
Yeah.
Urgh.
How is it?
It's the struggles of opening paint. That's just the whole video.
Happens to the best of us.
There we go. We don't need a lot. Water. There we go. Mink. Pick you up, little man. So what's your fella's name?
Oh my God. We need to get a name for him, because this is going to one of my friends for his birthday.
Oh,
But I should give him a name before I give him away, right?
yeah.
So he is an Iron Warrior, and he's an obliterator. So he's got a lot of guns, and he's kind of like, you know, like a meathead with a bunch of weapons. So it needs to be like, you know, Brick Gunnarsson or something.
Oh, see, I was just gonna say Jason.
Jason?
He said a lot of guns and a meathead, and I was like, it sounds like, you know, some guy I knew in middle school.
Named Jason?
Yeah.
Jason, if you're watching this, I apologize for Rachel.
I don't apologize. He was happy about his gun collection.
Alright, cool. Well, he's going to be Jason then.
He can be Jason Gunman. Or whatever. I forget what name you had.
No, I like Jason Gunman. just a very white bread name for a very much not white bread thing. I love it. Alright. Well, good old Jason Gunman will be going into my friend's collection.
This is why I'm not allowed to name things.
Emily wants us to name it Slab Meat Chunk.
Slab Meat Chunk.
That's from Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Oh! I haven't watched Mystery in so long.
If you say that loud enough, Emily will fly from her roost and make you watch that episode.
She'll just apparate out of nowhere.
No, you'll hear like a scraw in the air, and she'll descend upon you like a flock of single bird.
Just one, it's in a bouquet. Sorry. The inside joke, but not so inside, I guess. In Spirited Away, when Chihiro is first complaining about it, she's like, oh, it's the first time I get a bouquet, and it's a goodbye present. Her mom's like, your dad bought you a rose, and she's like, one's not a bouquet. So like 4 years later, after we first saw that or something, they don't quote it all the time or whatever, and I asked if we had like a plethora number, like, hey, do we have grapes or something? It's like, oh, you can have one. I'm like, one isn't a bouquet. So now we just like, oh, I have one, or like mention a singular item, which is normally grouped in larger quantities, and it's like, it's not a bouquet.
I love it.
Hush. That's my alarm. I need to get ready for work. Oh no.
Emily also says, let's see, Fridge Large Meat, Butch Deadlift, Bolt Vanderhuge,
Vanderhuge.
Rib Steak Face, Big McLarge Huge.
Big McLarge Huge is a very popular name.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've heard it used a few times.
And it's all from that one episode.
Big McLarge Huge is from that?
Yep.
Oh.
Emily, actually, like, her and her sister loved that episode so much that she made her sister a shirt with all of those names from
Oh my god.
that one episode. It's super cool.
I'm doing a bit of touch up on his eyeballs.
Alright, so
Here we go.
as you apply a wash, you always kind of want to make sure that you are active about spreading it around so it doesn't like pull awkwardly in one spot.
This is very important. Where it pulls where you want it to.
Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things with like washes especially, you know, you can come back and apply a second later if for some reason you missed something or something didn't quite get to the shade or depth that you wanted. But you know, ideally you always want to like try to make sure that you get as much done with as little effort as possible, right? Like, you're painting minis, not everything has to be a Picasso.
It has to be perfect. There we go. Here we go. Here we go. Tiny little touch of details. Make your eyes really pop when you're a skeleton. Just gotta get that fresh summer smoky look going on.
Alright, I'm gonna take a look at Mr. Glenn Bonderson. Emily remembered his name.
Oh, nice.
Oh, his eyes are looking great. Nice and glowy. Now, if you really want to kind of like seal the effect or sell the effect, I would take a little bit of this almost off-white blue and dot his eyes with it.
Periwinkle blue. Not periwinkle. Like a light sax. Sax blue is the most deceptive and mischievous color blue ever. Because everyone's like, oh, it's blue. And I'm like, no, it's periwinkle. Oh, it's sax. No, that's actually cyan. And it's just... Woo.
Pop.
I didn't kill it. I swear that wasn't me. Where's my tiny teeny brush? Tiny teeny brush, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh, so tiny and teeny.
That's its technical name. When you go to Michael's, you can in fact ask for the Tiny Teeny brush.
I actually got it from Michael's.
Yeah, in the Tiny Teeny section.
Yeah.
Yeah, see? Bam, right there.
It's like, sure, it's underneath the fairy garden.
Speaking of, their fairy garden stuff still on sale. Man, I want to go there. Like, because they have some great stuff for terrain and things like that for Michael's.
Yeah.
And it's all like 50% off. It's pretty crazy. Maybe I'll swing by after work, grab some.
Can't breathe. Doing details. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not even on screen. Ah!
It's fine.
Pill bugged again.
But it's the last page
We are joined by famed War Machine player Max Lamont.
Ooh.
I'm just literally watching you guys right now.
In real time!
Ooh, that's a lot. Just tone that down a bit. There we go.
Thanks for the update. See you on Saturday.
Really get your peepers popping there. I had to call my credit card people today and be like, hey, thanks. And they're like, hey, thank you for calling. I'm this lady in Nebraska. And she had this fantastic accent. It was like, hi, I'm from Nebraska here. And I'm like, whoa. I was like, I bet I sound like a hick.
Yeah, it's interesting accents and all that. But I mean, like, she had a Nebraska accent, so.
Yeah.
Yet, ye who does not have an accent cast the first stone.
Well, everyone has some kind of accent. Except for those weird, like, robot voices that are things like, hello, thank you for calling. I am supposed to be neutral, but I just sound weird to some people.
Justin, you can't tell how happy it makes me that you're able to identify my hands just from watching the stream. And you are correct. Those are, in fact, not my hands.
Ooh.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Wow, you can really see them. The little eye spots on the screen there.
Yep. See, it tones it up, and it's one of those things where it's like if it's ever like too bright, you can then like once again hit it with a little bit of wash to like tone it back down. But I like high levels of contrast, especially for things that are supposed to be glowing.
Yes. I noticed we also have this. Is this like a white?
Yeah, so that's Sickly Skin. It's from P3. It's one of the colors that I absolutely love because it is almost a pure white, but it has just a hint of green to it.
Yeah. It has like a sagey
Yeah.
undertone.
So I really like that.
I'm gonna adjust it. Because that's all it takes, ladies and gentlemen. A teensy bit. Or a teensy tiny brush.
Yeah. Rachel's doing a great job with the glow effects. She doesn't even need me to teach her.
No, well, you taught me, so. It goes to show how good of a teacher you are at it.
It's fine. I'll teach you 99 tricks, but not the 100th. For I will always be the master.
Okay.
I watch too much Kung Fu movies.
I don't watch enough Kung Fu movies. Oh, speaking of Kung Fu, I don't know if you saw that reaction I gave you.
Yes. I told Emily about that.
That's just gonna be me.
By the way, just everyone press F for respects for Emily's stomach for when we go to Nori Nori.
It's happening.
Oh, it's happening.
I told Matt about it. He's like, oh, is that a thing? And I'm like, yeah, we're doing it. Sometime.
Heck
He's
yes.
like, cool.
Yeah, I'm super pumped. Because we've lived next to Nori Nori for forever, and we've just never had the chance to go.
You live like right next to it?
Yeah,
How do you like not go?
because Emily will be the first person to tell you, taking her to an all-you-can-eat is a bad investment.
Oh, she is rather like
She eats like the phrase "eats like a bird," but does not eat, in fact, like an actual bird.
because birds are messy and crazy and
And they consume a lot of their body weight in food per day.
yeah, they get hungry.
Now, taking Max to Nori Nori will usually result in us asking to be leave early. They're like, "Sir, you've had enough crab."
I've had some when I'm finished. I'll leave when I'm finished. I was good.
Yeah.
I've only been to Nori Nori once in my life, and I am very eager to go back.
Good. I'm eager to see the damage you can do to Nori Nori.
Although I do have to like plan and prep for it, kind
Yeah.
of like it's Thanksgiving, you know, where you spend like a whole week like stretching your stomach and being ridiculous and doing stuff like that,
Yeah,
so you get
well-
the maximum effect.
You have the nice goal of, or the ability to show up in like a nice dress or whatever, like something that doesn't constrict the waist. When me and Max show up in Nori Nori with a dress, they ask us to leave, not because we're wearing a dress, because they in fact know what's up.
They're like, oh no.
These
Not
guys
this,
are planning to wreck. Right, Max?
Correct.
Center screen.
You can be like, or you can be like Jesse Farmer and go to an all-you-can-eat seafood buffet,
Yeah.
and then be like, as soon as you walk in, you're like, I don't like fish.
What?
Or go to a seafood place with David Finn, and then 5 minutes into dinner, yeah, I can't eat shellfish. What can I have?
Oh.
Who did that?
David can't eat shellfish.
David Finn?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Try the shellfish over them.
Yeah.
I can eat shellfish once.
Yeah, it's true.
Just the
You
once.
eat it a whole bunch.
So like a family friend of mine, like can't she's definitely allergic to seafish or shellfish, rather. But if she drinks alcohol, she can have it and not die.
Interesting.
Not dying is a good thing.
Right.
That is, I can only imagine the way in which she found that out.
It's either like, well, I guess I'm going out, and then just like go all crazy with it, and then it's like, oh, I didn't totally
No,
die.
like 3 a.m. drunk, just devouring crab puffs.
Oh, jeez. Crab meat, for everyone listening, I stuck my hand in the blue again, is like one of my favorite foods ever.
Yeah. Do you like imitation crab meat too?
I
Or-
do.
Okay.
As growing up with less than highest economic standing, I can't have crab legs every day.
So you guys heard it here first. If you find out when Rachel's birthday is, bring her a bouquet of crab meat, not flowers.
Crab leg bouquet.
Yeah. That sounds terrible.
That's like it's cute in theory, but it's like, eh. It's like I gotta bring that home.
Or just, eat it while you're at work.
Oh, I'm sure that'll go well. The folks in the back won't mind me just like chowing down on some crab legs back there.
No, I don't think so.
Well,
think it'll be fine.
It's not like a quick snack, like, oh, and yum, okay, bye.
No, just eat it at the register. Just like crack open legs
Like a
as you're
spoon.
checking people out.
That will definitely
Crack. Just complete silence. Crack.
$37.50 is your total.
Just a little bit of crab juice hitting you in the eye.
No, not my eyes.
David going into anaphylactic shock just for being nearby.
Where's the EpiPen? Where's the EpiPen? It's like a scene out of Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
There we go. Added a little bit of texture. Just sure, why not?
Max, did you see the new Slanesh models coming out?
I did not.
Oh, really? New Keeper's Secrets, baby.
Awkward squeaky noises in the
When I
background.
look at 40K models, it's just gonna be like, that's it.
Yeah.
So I try to refrain.
Did I not bring over by the dust shelf?
I have no idea who Paul is.
No, I
Alright.
brought it over by the dust shelf.
Stealing yet another paint bottle from you.
Go for it.
I have this poor little frazzled out dead paintbrush. I don't know if you can see it. No, it's too light. You can see the background though. I don't know. Anyways, he's horribly dead, but he works great for adding like little tiny spots on things.
Yeah. Oh, like speckling?
Yeah. he's just so frazzled and awful that it's like, oh, it's perfect.
That paintbrush is me.
No. Frazzled but perfect?
Fast but useful.
Sure.
Sure.
Max, did you listen to the part of the stream where Rachel named this obliterator for me?
No.
It's Jason Gunman. I don't know why that's super amusing to me, but it is.
I haven't known many Jasons in my time, but they have not been pleasant.
I've known actually quite a few Jasons.
Actually, there's probably someone I do know whose name is Jason, but I can only think of like the really grumpy, annoying
That hit
ones
me in the
right now.
forehead.
What I just.
Whatever you just clipped.
I think it was just dry glue. I'm so sorry.
Just smack dab in the middle of the forehead. If it was a gun, I'd be dead.
I threw the whole actual gun at you.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a thing in a movie. Throwing guns.
It was a thing in an Iron Man comic. There was a bad guy who just got, superpowers, and he came to realize that he could throw a gun faster than the bullets could travel.
Just throw the bullets. Sorry, y'all aren't getting a good view of that.
Yeah.
I think next episode, so next week, we should do some freehanding on the pants. Add some tropical palm trees. Does that
Yes.
sound good?
I like this. Feel like the base looks sufficiently like roundish.
Yeah, and that's one of those things where it's like you don't necessarily want to make the base the centerpiece of the model, like the star of it. So generally, like a base layer, a wash, and a dry brush, plus like a couple of you can get some tufts, some little bits of dry rubbish or whatever sticking out, but you don't want it to especially take away from Glenn Bonderson's eyes.
Well,
Those gorgeous baby blues he's got.
the resort he's staying at is really nice, so they don't have weeds poking up through the cracks.
Yeah, they take care of it.
Yeah, he's over by the pool.
Yeah, their landscapers are top notch.
A+. Not like my landscapers at my apartment. I swear they were like right outside our apartment at 8:58 this morning, and were made like leaf blower noise for 2 minutes and then silence. And I'm like, did you just do that to wake me up? Like,
Rachel, I'm gonna be honest. I think your apartment's just an active crime scene.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're just not wrong. Yeah. It's not my favorite place I've ever existed.
But it is a place that you existed.
It is a place that I, for some reason, under like a hazy blur of flu, paid money to.
Well, I think it's like extreme duress. Do you mind getting that?
Yeah, that would work.
Like in a court of law, you'd just be like duress. And the judge would be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, it's the first time I ever had the flu, so I really wasn't doing well. Although, I'll tell you, I was watching this delightful video about the dangers of lead poisoning and how it's affecting a lot of like American infrastructure. Yay.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh boy, we get to look forward to that, jokingly to Matt. And he's like, wait, what? When have you ever lived in a place that has lead? And I'm like, babe, it was in our contract. And he's like, what? And I was like, yeah, this place is like 70s. So, ta-da. And he's like, and I'm like, this is why you finished so much earlier than I did that day, because you didn't read it. Even with the flu, I knew to read it.
Yeah. Always read your contracts.
I don't remember much except for the 4 pages of like, hey, these buildings are old and they might have lead paint under the paint that we plaster over everything. But we're not
Yeah.
gonna get into this.
So don't pick at the paints, or don't pick at the walls in your apartment.
Well, I'd be less concerned if the paint was actually staying on the walls and not like permanently affixed to the carpet where they just sprayed and forgot to take the carpet out. There's like a solid 1.5 to like 3 inches, depending on the area, of like just wall color on the carpet.
Maybe we should look into getting you a new place.
I would like that. Anyways, we're talking about painting minis today, not painting apartments. How frustrating it is when I used to do it for a living and I can't even touch the place I live. And I'm going crazy because everything's is not the same color gray.
But yeah, how's good old Glenn doing?
Glenn is doing good. I actually think, how much time do we have left? Can
We
I
have about 10 minutes. So
Oh, heck yeah. Maybe I can work on his pants.
yeah.
I'm gonna.
So what color do you want the palm trees to be on his pants? I was thinking like a yellow.
Yeah, I was actually looking hard at this bright yellow, this gaudy yellow.
Mm-hmm.
This hello yellow. Maybe I could do like a. Well, we were gonna write something on his bum, right?
Wasn't it going to be juicy?
Juicy. I don't know if I can write juicy that tiny.
I think it was a joke because he's a skeleton and his butt is in fact not juicy.
I don't know. It's surprisingly like bubbly for someone with no, glutes.
Yeah. So
He's
it
holding
could,
his pants up with something. Anyway, so yeah, yellow seems good. Let's see.
it's just like they're like, Glenn, you have to become the necromancer's like, Glenn, I'm going to turn you into the undead. And he's like, all right. Well, can I keep one thing? The necromancer's like, fine, I'll grant you one thing to keep from your previous life. And then he's just like, my great butt.
Let me keep my butt, my Captain America butt.
Emily says that instead of juicy, you should put bony.
Bony?
Yeah.
Okay, now the question is, and this might sound silly, but how do you spell it?
B-O-N-Y.
Why? No E.
No.
Okay. Let's see. Inspect the what is it? It's not palette. Canvas. Inspect the canvas. I don't know, I just like juicy.
Yeah, well, let's do juicy then.
We'll stick with a classic.
Yeah.
Next time, Emily. Maybe when I'm doing like a very fluffy character.
It's all about that contrast.
This is not going to be very entertaining because I gotta get like right up on him.
It's fine.
Nothing to do with contrast, John. Has everything to do with contrast.
Oh dear.
Ooh, tickle a little bit.
The paint dried on my brush before I could get there. It was too tiny.
No. You're not Ant-Man.
My company on the group chat was like, I don't get why the internet is like, I don't like how the internet's obsessed with that. This was like, I think it's weird that you're not obsessed with it.
I agree. If they don't at least reference that,
They have to. At this point, they
Yeah.
have to.
It was too watered down, you can't see it. Meh.
can you pass me one of those paper towels, Max?
Nobody saw bodies. Rules say you're not damn much to bodies.
Maybe his vacation is because he's like, they're like, hey, congrats, you're a skeleton. You're now part of our skeleton army. Go enjoy some time off because you're just like, you had a hard life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm down with that.
It's such a teeny tiny. It's such a tiny amount of paint that it keeps like drying on my brush.
Yeah, so that's usually why you want to like thin it out of the pot. Like put a little bit on the palette, make sure it's
Yeah.
nice and thin. It'll take like a couple layers, kind of depending on how you do it, but usually the effect overall is pretty good.
Well, that's how he got. That's how he swallowed a bunch of jewels off of an Eldar grave world, Eldar cemetery world, and then used another jewel to suck up Manus and the other siege master Perturabo. So his energy.
So, if you were a part of a skeleton army,
Yes.
what would your weapon be?
I'd like the idea of a flail,
Ooh.
but more so because it'd be like kind of comical. Because I'd imagine like I'd swing it around a lot and then eventually like knock my head off, and then have to go like pick it up.
Aww.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing Korak in full on because he is in the lore.
Okay, we're just only gonna be able to fit juice onto his butt.
Wait, are you doing Juicy? Yeah.
Right?
No, it's Juicy. No, yeah. So you can fit
There's
the
no
whole
E.
thing. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay. Yay!
Yeah.
Juicy spelled wrong. Because that is the exact pair of pants that I would make.
I feel like a skeleton wouldn't necessarily care too much about the quality of the.
I don't know. I feel like if you don't have like hair or complexion to worry about,
Yeah.
you can really focus on your fashion.
I guess that's true.
Huge hunting raven, and it's just like he's one of the more fascinating. Deliverance Lost is one of my favorites.
Aw, yeah, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think it'll pick it up. It just kind of looks like a yellow smear on his bum.
That's fine.
It spells juicy.
And with that, we will end the stream. Glenn Bonderson and his juicy pants.
Off to get a pina colada.
Off to get a pina colada on his vacation. This has been the best paint stream we've ever put on. And with that, guys, we are taking off for the afternoon. So thank you very much for everyone who's joined us. And we hope to see you next week. when we do some nice little palm trees on Glenn's pants, and maybe brighten up some of the bones with some dry brushing. Yeah. So until then, you guys have a great afternoon, and see you.
It turned out pretty great.
Oh my God, yes it did. It's too good.
I'm excited for eventually getting to paint my shark boy on here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. I'm excited for it too.
Cheers there. Cleaning the brushes.
How are you doing, Max?
Good. Tired.
Yeah?
Always tired. How's your day? Was it fun?
Kind of poopy.
Kind of poopy?
Yeah, my aunt passed away yesterday.
sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
It's not like 100% unexpected.
Was she doing bad recently?
No. Well, so that's the thing. Like, she had stage 4 cancer, but she was doing fine. But like, you're kind of on like a clock when you get it at that point. But we just, she was doing fine. Family was checking in, and just all of a sudden, just not anymore. It just sucks because it is on my mom's side, and there's 3 sisters, and now there's only my Aunt Shelley left. So, like, I feel really bad for her, having to go through losing, family members like that. So,
Sorry, yeah, John.
no, I mean, I got to keep it together for,
The masses.
yeah. And also she's got 2 boys, and so I'm gonna see if I, like, after I move and have a bigger place, if they wanted to come up for like a couple of days or like a week or something like that.
Right
So,
on. I thought you were streaming.
no.
They
Yeah.
were. They were streaming.
Oh, wait, did I end the other stream?
Oh no. Oh,
Yeah,
shoot.
keeping it real.
Talk about real stuff. Emotions.
Ugh.
John's a real person too.